What's up, guys? It's Rohan. Welcome to my YouTube channel. On this channel, all I'm really going to be doing is talking about basketball and seeing that we have a season coming up. My first few videos are going to be leading up to the season, and then while the season's going on, I'm just going to have like weekly videos talking about, the storylines, headlines, things that happen in the league, things that I like, things that I didn't, and where I think a team is standing at the moment. So things like that, just talking about ball, that's it. But yeah, for right now, my first video, given that it's still the preseason and we're officially done with the meat and potatoes, if you will, of free agency, and we're now getting to see which team has which players and where everybody's landing and all that kind of stuff. I just wanted to start off with my view on certain teams that are interesting to me ahead of the upcoming season. And my first video, I'm just going to be talking about the Milwaukee Bucks. And yeah, so let's get into it. So as you guys know, if you watch basketball, if you follow the league, the Milwaukee Bucks were a team that last year and the year before that they had expectations put on them. Let's just put it like that. They had the back-to-back MVP slash Defensive Player of the Year this past season in Giannis Antetokounmpo. And, just given that he's on the team in general, obviously that's going to come with a lot of baggage and expectations. And the Bucks front office has done such a great job over the years constructing a team around him that just fits his player build, if you will. They just have shooters left and right, every position. From Brook Lopez at the center spot, Chris Middleton, George Hill, Ersan Ilyasova, all these guys can just shoot the ball, and it just provides the right amount of spacing needed for Giannis Antetokounmpo to open up the floor for him and allow him to do what he does best, which is attack the paint and put defenses on their heels, really. So that's what the Bucks have done for the past few years, and to a certain extent, it's worked. But we've seen in the past few years that at a certain point, when you get into those deep playoff runs where you're playing the same team over and over again, over the course of a 7-game series, where the other team has a chance to scheme and prepare for you, those same tactics might not work because, you're going to have to make adjustments. And Mike Budenholzer, being the head coach, has had a problem throughout his career, really, ever since he was in Atlanta, of making late game adjustments, making late series adjustments, and, putting his team in the best position to advance in the playoffs. And obviously, when you have as much talent as the Bucks did or do, you're gonna get far in the playoffs. But at a certain point, when teams are used to your playing style and know what to expect, you're gonna have to change it up. And they weren't able to do that in the past few years. We saw it in 2 years ago against the Raptors, where they were up 2 games to none, and the Raptors stormed back and won 4 straight. And they knew what to do with Giannis. They put Kawhi on him. They doubled him. They said, we're going to make anyone else beat us. No, sorry. They said, we're going to make Giannis beat us by himself. And they played excellent defense on him. Kawhi Leonard did a great job. But in those first 2 games, they proved that they could win. But once those adjustments started happening and coming into play, then the Bucks were kind of lost. And the same thing happened this year against the Miami Heat, who had done a good job against the Bucks in the regular season as well. So they knew kind of what to expect. And the Heat were just such a gritty, tough defensive team that it was just so hard for the Bucks to make adjustments. And yes, Giannis did get hurt for a little bit, but even when he was healthy, the Heat were just the better team. And so yeah, obviously back-to-back disappointing seasons for them. And now the big question moving on to this season is, will Giannis Antetokounmpo sign his Supermax extension like Anthony Davis was going to, like Steph Curry, James Harden, all these big name guys have done? And, for Giannis, he's in a position where obviously his main goal is winning. He wants to win basketball games. He doesn't care about the individual awards as great as they are. He wants to be put in the best position to win a championship. And, when you're signing a Supermax contract, I can only imagine how hard it is to make that decision, because you're going to be there if you sign that contract, like definitely for the next 5-6 years if you sign that deal, and depending on if you request a trade or not, which we've seen over the years with Anthony Davis doing with the Pelicans. And it's a hard decision to make for any player because you don't want to be stuck in a position where you're on the team and they don't have any money to get anybody else, and they don't have a good team around you, so you're basically stuck there and you can't win. But the Bucks do have a good team, and Giannis can sign the supermax contract, but he has to be careful. And if and for the small market, team like the Bucks, they really need Giannis to resign because again, they're a small market team, and no big name free agent is really gonna look at Milwaukee and say, oh, there's the bright lights, I'm gonna go there, like they would in LA or New York. And so for a small town team like Milwaukee, a small market team like Milwaukee, it's going to be very crucial that they keep Giannis Antetokounmpo there. And so yeah, that's what this offseason has been about for them. And they have made moves, and they brought in a lot of good players, good pieces around him to try to meet that goal. And so the biggest thing that they did was right like hours into free agency, bringing in Jrue Holiday from the Pelicans. They got him, and they shipped out Eric Bledsoe, George Hill, two future first round picks, and two future pick swaps for Jrue Holiday. And I think that move, as much as Giannis, it might not be the biggest move to keep Giannis in Milwaukee, it was a very good move for them in their immediate future, because they're going to be a good regular season no matter what, because that's who they've been, right? Every year that they've been at their best, like 2 years ago, last year, they've been the number 1, number 2 seed. So moving forward with Jrue Holiday on the team instead of a guy like Eric Bledsoe, who, first of all, Jrue Holiday does not get enough credit for his defense, and I think around the league, among the players, he does, because he's widely regarded around the league as one of, if not the best defender at the guard position. And yes, he didn't make an all-defensive team last year, like Eric Bledsoe did, but in my opinion, and obviously the players' opinions, he is the better defender. And you couple that with his ability to score literally from anywhere on the court. Like, this is a guy that a few years ago, when the Pelicans played the Portland Trailblazers, he literally locked up their 2 best players in Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum and gave them 30-40 points game to game in that series. So he's a guy that can lock up your best player and give you 20. And that's what he's been averaging over the past few seasons, about 18 to 20 points. And so when you already have a guy like Chris Middleton who can score from anywhere on the floor, and you bring in a guy like Jrue Holiday that can do the same thing and play elite defense, and you pair that with Giannis, it's a recipe for success. And I think this is very big for them because of the playoffs where they were last year, right? They had Chris Middleton there as literally their only guy that could get a bucket when they needed to. Like, Giannis, as good as he is, 2-time MVP, all defensive player of the year, we know. But like Richard Jefferson, I believe, said over the summer on Twitter, Giannis is not an MJ and Michael Jordan. And what he meant by that is not that Giannis can't be the best player on the best team. It's just that he can't lead the team in terms of getting his shot wherever you want, closing out the games. He can't do those type of things because he can't shoot threes. He's struggled from mid-range, and really he's best in the open court and when he's attacking the paint. So he can't get his shot from anywhere on the court. But and to be honest, that's the reason why they lost these past few years, because Chris Middleton was the only guy on their team that could get a bucket when they needed to. And that if that's the case, then teams are going to be prepared for that, and it's not going to be the best situation for them. So now you bring in a guy like Jrue Holiday that can do the same things as Chris Middleton and lock up on defense. It's definitely going to help them in the long run. Now, that being said, one of the deals that fell through with the Milwaukee Bucks was them trying to bring in Bogdan Bogdanovic, and he would have been, I think, the guy to put them over the top officially, like, definitely, right? Jrue Holiday, in my opinion, already has put them in a position where they should be in the finals next year, but we'll see, because the Eastern Conference is a lot better. You have the Nets, you have the Sixers, the Heat, the Pacers, all these teams are there. The Raptors still, the Celtics, right? There's a lot of teams out there that can compete. But Bogdan Bogdanovic would have been a guy that you would have looked at him on that team and been like, whoa, all right, they're the team, right? But unfortunately, that deal fell through. I'm not too sure actually what happened exactly, but the signing didn't work, and he ended up in Atlanta for a 4-year, $72 million deal, which is a lot of money for him. And the Kings said, hell no, we're not matching that. So he didn't end up in Milwaukee, and Giannis was vocal about his frustrations. He said there was a quote from him that I read that said he's a guy that I can go to war with in the playoffs. And so it seems like he's a bit disappointed that they weren't able to get him in. But at the end of the day, they have a great regular season roster. And I think for me, what it's going to come down to, I mentioned it earlier, is Mike Budenholzer's ability to make adjustments in the playoffs. He's a coach that is great during the regular season. Like I said before, he did it in Atlanta, and he's done it with Milwaukee every single season. They're a top seed. But he's got to make those adjustments in the playoffs in order to win. And I think that's what it's going to come down to. But I love that trade. I love the trade that they made, the Milwaukee Bucks, to bring in Jrueholiday. I think it's going to help them a lot. And I'm just excited to see where the season goes with them. And barring any injuries, major injuries, they should be right back at the top of the conference. So yeah, they're definitely a team to look out for. And so that's the first video, guys. I'll be back with more teams that I'm interested ahead of the season. And then when the season gets started, it's going to be weekly talk from there on out. So thank you, guys. Peace.